Party Chairman Jim Walsh here for our regular Chairman's Update. Uh, Several things happened this week that are relevant to what we're doing here at the WAGOP, and I just want to recap what's happened and what's going to happen going forward, at least from our end of things. Big news this week, and it was a week full of big news. The killer of Washington State Trooper Chris Gadd, the illegal alien who killed this young state trooper in an automobile accident when the illegal alien was drunk, was convicted this week. And it was a good win for justice. It was a good win for truth. And it was a good refuting of the illegal alien's lawyer's argument that under Washington's sanctuary state policies, this cop killer couldn't even be prosecuted. No, the cop killer was prosecuted, and the cop killer has been convicted. And that's a good thing. I hope it gives closure to some of Chris Gadd's family who have been dealing with his tragic death now for a couple of years. And I hope it's a lesson to everyone in the state that illegal aliens are not above the law in Washington. If you kill someone, you can be prosecuted and convicted, and justice will be served. After that, there was a little bit of a scuffle this week. The federal Department of Homeland Security, which is the parent agency of Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, which is kind of the enforcement branch of DHS, Department of Homeland Security, had published a list of jurisdictions, what they call sanctuary jurisdictions. This was a list, a combination of states, including Washington State, as well as local jurisdictions, counties, and they included a number of counties here in Washington State in their list, and local, very local jurisdictions, cities, and very local forms of government. The list from the feds, from DHS, was a national list, so it included states where they have sanctuary policies, counties, and cities. For our part, Washington, of course, is one of the most flagrant and egregious sanctuary states. So we're on the list as the state. Also, a number of our counties were, and that's where kind of the flap happened. DHS included some Washington counties in their list that are not sanctuary counties. On the contrary, county commissioners in those counties, or more often the county sheriff, pointed out their counties not only were not sanctuary counties, they were counties that wanted to cooperate with the federal government to enforce immigration law. So DHS, the federal bureaucratic agency, pulled down their list, or at least part of their list, and took off these counties where the sheriffs had insisted they would help ICE and they would help federal agents enforce immigration law. As I've mentioned before, mechanically, this matter of enforcing immigration law applies primarily to so-called immigration detainers. These are the warrants, essentially, arrest warrants that federal agencies issue when they know that there's an illegal alien somewhere, and ask local law enforcement, usually sheriff's departments, but sometimes other agencies, to arrest that person, that illegal alien, in their area, hold them until the federal law enforcement ICE agents can come in and pick up the illegal alien and deport them. So here in Washington, pursuant to rules, bureaucratic rules, and in a narrow case, partly a couple of statutory laws promoted by the previous governor, Mr. Inslee, and the current governor, Mr. Ferguson. So it's on Ferguson. State policy tells local law enforcement that you can't cooperate with federal immigration agencies, particularly with regard to these immigration detainers, these warrants. Highly controversial. As you know, there are a number of county sheriffs who disregard that. They've said, no, we're going to honor the federal actions and honor the immigration detainers. So it's good that DHS walked back their position a little bit. Now, Washington still counts as a sanctuary state to the federal guidelines and federal law, but taking some of these counties off was a good idea because they're trying to cooperate. What we need to fix right now is the state problem. And this rests squarely with Mr. Ferguson, the current governor, and Mr. Brown, the current state attorney general. They are defending the illegal state policy of so-called sanctuary state protection of illegal aliens. As we saw with the Chris Gadd killer case, that trial, they're woe-begotten, misbegotten, misinformed, unconstitutional, poorly conceived sanctuary state policy leads to more violence, leads to more dead law enforcement, leads to more drugs in our communities. It's a bad policy. And it's the worst kind of cynical virtue signaling on the part of far left radical politicians who want to have a fight with Donald Trump or the daddy or whatever authority figure they see back in DC. It's bad public policy. We should not be a sanctuary state. We should cooperate with ICE and other federal agencies in enforcing immigration law. Our constitutions, both federal and state, clearly say that immigration enforcement is a federal responsibility, but that local law enforcement should cooperate with the implementation of law enforcement with regard to federal immigration law. Mr. Ferguson, Mr. Brown, stop the games, stop the obfuscation, help the federal agencies enforce immigration law. Which brings us to our last point for this update. I am the sponsor. I filed a few weeks ago, and we finally got our number just a few days ago of an initiative, IL 26-126, an initiative that will require proof of citizenship when people register to vote here in Washington. Right now, under our existing laws and existing practice, there is no certification, confirmation, verification that an individual who's registered to vote in Washington is a legal citizen and therefore legal to vote. Under our existing system, under our so-called automatic voter registration program, sometimes called Motor Voter Act, people are automatically registered to vote when they get a driver's license or a identity card from the Department of Licensing, or when they apply for state benefits from the Department of Social and Health Services, DSHS, or various other actions, applications, help asked for from various state agencies. People are automatically registered to vote. There is no reliable verification that these people automatically registered to vote are in fact citizens and able to vote legally. What initiative IL 26-126 does is it requires state agencies, when they automatically register someone to vote, to confirm that that person has provided documentation that they are a legal citizen and legal to vote. It can be a birth certificate, could be a real ID compliant enhanced driver's license or a passport. If you're a naturalized citizen, and naturalized citizens can vote, it's your naturalization documents equivalent to a birth certificate for someone who's a naturalized citizen in this country. Any of those documents will do. But the state, when it's automatically registering people to vote, has got to take some responsibility here. In the past, when we've asked the state bureaucratic agencies, well, who's in charge? Who makes sure that registered voters are in fact citizens? The Secretary of State, the State Secretary of State, and the Department of Licensing and DSHS, they all point fingers at each other. Oh, well, they're responsible. In the end, really, nobody's responsible. So this initiative will make sure that our voter registration process is reliable and verified. So people who are registered to vote in Washington State are citizens and can vote. It's an important step, not the only step, but an important step in reestablishing election integrity and reestablishing trust and confidence in our elections here in Washington State. There's more to do on that front, but it's an important major step. We are going to be coordinating this effort in Washington State with similar efforts in Oregon and California and a few other Western states. So we're going to be coordinating. You may see some combined publicity and promotion, maybe some combined fundraising and support of these initiatives. But it's a good thing. I think you'll see that it's not just a Washington issue, it's a West Coast issue. And we're going to improve the quality of our elections up and down the West Coast. It's a good thing. It's a good reform. And I'll be talking more to you about IL 26-126 in the weeks ahead. But for now, that's an update of where we are. There's a lot going on. There'll be more to talk about next week. But until then, be well and stay strong.